Welcome into the Browns Report. I'm your host, Matthew Peterson. We got some bad news. I guess you could call it maybe good news if you were really less optimistic, but Kareem Hunt likely to IR. Saw this come after getting carted off the field yesterday with that calf injury. On the bright side, it looked like it could have been a season-ender injury just based on his body language, the way he was putting the deuces up overall. But here's what Ian Rappaport had to say. Browns running back Kareem Hunt is expected to miss several weeks with his calf injury. Source said he'll likely head to injured reserve. So, half glass full, half glass empty. Thankfully, it's just a couple of weeks and not a season-ending injury, but also Hunt's been just so special this year. It's definitely been one of his best seasons, if not his best season with Cleveland so far. Look at the numbers, 89 touches. You can't just look at the carries for this guy. He's such a threat out of the backfield in the passing game. Over 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. Someone's going to have to do a half-ass job at least to try and piece together those numbers. Demetric Felton, he's going to have a much bigger workload, but I loved what I've seen so far out of him, so it'll be fun to see what we get out of him. But the injury news, unfortunately, that train continues to roll. It was a tough day on Sunday for the Browns. The loss and the injury losses. Here's what Nate Ulrich from the Akron Beacon Journal had to say. Browns coach Kevin Stefanski said rookie linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah has high ankle sprain, and the team will work through IR designations today. Kind of AKA, it looks like JOK is headed to IR. A huge blow. He's been one of the best players on defense, honestly the second best player maybe, besides Myles Garrett. And now you get the linebacker depth chart of what will we look at here. Well, we got 3 linebackers up on the screen. The Browns tend to roll with just 2 anyway. They like to do a nickel package, but they're able to do that because of JOK and his ability to be a linebacker and kind of a DB as well. He can cover guys. He's super athletic. They don't get that with Mack Wilson. So I'm curious to see what the Browns do if they want to roll with Malcolm Smith, who I thought did a pretty good job filling in for Anthony Walker for a handful of weeks, and roll with a bigger set. Honestly, it's going to be a bit of a head-scratcher for Joe Woods and this defense, how they want to tool around JOK's absence, because with him, you were able to do a nickel defense for much of the game. Without him, I wouldn't want to see that with Mack Wilson. We'll see what the Browns do, but that's what we got going on injury-wise. We got some other things to talk about as well in today's videos. I got 3 takeaways lined up for you guys after yesterday's loss against the Cardinals, so we'll run through all of that. But here's what I originally wanted to start the show with before we had some injury news trickle out. Baker Mayfield, I thought this was a great quote. We're going to see what we are made of. Our backs are up against the wall right now, and I like our chances. That came out of yesterday's loss. First time the Browns have lost 2 straight games in the last 2 seasons under head coach Kevin Stefanski, and it's game week. Broncos, Browns. Got a handful of bees in my mouth right there. Let's catch up to them. The Broncos are not in a good spot either right now. 2 3-3 teams entering Thursday Night Football. Broncos have lost 3 in a row. Let's catch up to them, subscribers. So if you haven't already, help us get over 3K. We got some ground to make up, but hey, it's not insurmountable. We can definitely catch up to the Broncos. So make sure, if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe right now to the Browns Report. Do yourself a favor. Get yourself locked in for all the latest news and rumors, injury reports, and you name it. Now, Week 6 takeaways. First one up. Injuries are a major factor. I didn't think that would be the case going into Sunday, but after seeing Baker Mayfield just get plummeted because both starting tackles were out, you can definitely see why, all right? Baker Mayfield, Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, JOK, all of them absent in this one. Shoulder injury for Baker once again. It's a left shoulder. It's not a passing shoulder. It's not his throwing shoulder. Then you have Kareem Hunt with a calf injury, along with Nick Chubb. And the good news out of the Nick Chubb news, at least, is that it looks like he may be able to play. It's unfortunate that it's coming on a short week, but that's the dealio. And then Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, he's got that right high ankle sprain. Ankles, I mean, talk to Jedrick Wills about that, who's also on an ankle injury right now. It's not something you want to force, so that's what the Browns are rolling with at the moment. But do you blame the struggles on injuries? At a certain point, injuries can definitely just turn over a season. They can absolutely derail positivity and putting things together in a rhythm. But on the other note, everyone's got injuries. You're not new. Sure, you may have it worse than others, and that's real. But injuries are always always real here. And so both sides are kind of right on this one. I'm going to use this one twice because there's a handful of ways you can go about this. But the injury excuse has some merit to it, but at the end of the day, it's next man up. This is the NFL. You got to be prepared. You got to be able to roll with the punches, even when they come at big players. At a certain point, when you lose 37-14, you can't chalk it all up to injuries. And that's why coaching is a major factor here. Coaching struggles in the clutch. Kevin Stefanski in year 2, him and his boys, they've had some heartbreakers. They've had some games that were tough to swallow. It was not pretty. And for me, what's really frustrating, I'm looking over some of the Browns beat reporters coming out of the press conference right now with Stefanski. It's the defense. Really, you look at the big losses, and I've got 4 picked out here. There's a theme. It's not that the offense struggled, excluding the Arizona game, all right? The first 3 were bad performances by the defense. 47 points. Remember that thriller last year against the Ravens, the Lamar poop game? Then you got the Chiefs. The defense led them back into it late. The offense also has some ownership, no doubt about it. And then the Chargers, 47 points. At a certain point, it's on the defense, and I'm looking at the quotes here, and I've got John Johnson saying it's not about communication. It's about one split coverage between the safeties. And then I've got Stefanski saying they're overemphasizing communication in practice. What is it? It's trash right now. That's what it is. And this team went out and spent a lot of money on the defense. John Johnson, Troy Hill, get Ronnie Harrison. You said Grant Delpit in the second round. A lot of investment was made on the defensive side this past offseason, the year before, and it's just not coming. Greg Newsome, I'm just thinking of more. It's just putting me in a hole right now. Ugh. All right, we digress, though. Here's my question, though. After a 3-3 start, I'm not asking if the Browns will make the playoffs. That has to happen. You can't regress to the point where you missed the playoffs after a great season last year. But will the Browns win a playoff game? That's my question. If we have to have the conversation of if they're going to make the playoffs, it is bad. It is old Browns. It's the same old Browns. We can't have that conversation. I'm not having that conversation just yet. W for win, L for lose, down in the comment section. Guys, if you haven't already, check them out. BetUS, they're our great friends over at the sportsbook world, and they hook you up with a great deal all the time. They get you in on a 125% deposit bonus when you use the link at the bottom of your screen, along with the promo code Browns125. So make sure you do yourself a favor. Get that big deposit bonus. Check them out. BetUS. Make some money on the Browns all season long. And if it's not the Browns, it's the NFL. I post my picks every single week. I went 2-3 last week. All right, we move on. All right, you can't go 5-0 every week like I did the week before or 2 weeks before. Check them out. BetUS. My third and final takeaway. The Baker debate will never end. This is like the Civil War reborn right now for football fans, especially in Cleveland. You've got the people are on both sides and everywhere in between. It is tough right now. Baker, right? That's what I put up there because you got a couple things working for and against him. All right? The stats overall in his career, just not what you're looking for someone you drafted first overall. That's a fact. You don't draft someone first overall for those kind of numbers. You draft someone first overall for the Kyler Murray numbers and what he did yesterday, or what Justin Herbert did 2 weeks before as a top pick. You know, these are not first overall numbers. But at the same time, you can't deny he has had a lot of success in Cleveland. He has brought them to the playoffs. He has won a playoff game. He has been way, way better, way more consistent. Every single box has been checked by Baker than any Browns quarterback in the last decade plus. But also at the same time, are you settling? I mean, that you at a certain point you have to look yourself in the mirror and realize, sure, he's been better than everything we've had before, but we want the best. And so that's why I struggle. I don't have an answer, honestly. I wish I did. Every night I go to bed thinking, what's my take going to be on Baker? And I don't have one because both sides raise phenomenal points. Better than anything we've had before. It's been tough. Don't ditch it when you have good, but also, hey, we need to be better. Baker hasn't been the first overall pick you'd hope he'd be, and that's true. Both things can be true at once. Ultimately, the rest of the season is going to dictate Baker's future, in my opinion, in Cleveland. But are you a believer in Baker Mayfield? It's the question of the day. It's the question so far this season so far for the Browns. Y for yes, N for no. For me, the next 11 games are going to say a lot. We're going to know a lot more about whether Baker's getting that extension. We're going to find out a lot about this team, a lot about Stefanski and Mayfield. Let me know what you're thinking in the comment section. Sound off. It is rant time right now in Cleveland.